Asha Robinson, welcome to the Bend Like Bamboo podcast. Asha, thank you so much for being with me this morning.
Thank you, Amanda. Thanks for having me.
My absolute pleasure. So I found you in Hawkesburn initially at one of your gorgeous stores, State of Grace Collective. You've got a gorgeous crystal shop with loads of crystals and healing apparatus, bracelets. I send many of my clients down to you to get their miracle bracelets. I wear many of them every day
Beautiful.
because it helps my clients to remember their homework, and it's just a prop that helps them to check in and be present. And yes, I had the privilege of attending one of your other stores in Moonee Ponds, where you have a wonderful um, harmonic egg, which we're going to talk about today.
Yes. Yes, I absolutely love the Harmonic Egg. We've only had it for 4 months. It's a bit of story how I found it. So I've had the stores for three years now. And I'm always listening to podcasts. And so I was listening to a podcast and I'm finished, and then I tend not to choose the next one. Spirit just naturally sort of lets the next one come on and chooses one for me. And I was listening to this lady, Gail Lynn, in America, talking about this harmonic egg. And I wasn't really paying attention, but she said something about 10, 15 minutes into the podcast.
Yes.
And I went, oh, I've got to listen to this properly. This really caught my attention. So I sort of went back to the start and listened to it, and it just spoke to me. And my spirit team, which I listen to all the time, was just whispering in my ear, you need to bring this into the store. And I was like, wow. And then my ego was saying, you need to try this. This is so what I did was I looked up and tried to find a harmonic egg in Australia, and there wasn't any. The closest one was in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So the next week I flew to Auckland, hired a car, drove 2 hours out to where the harmonic egg was speaking to Michelle, who had that. She was the harmonic egg guardian. And as soon as I sat in there, the music wasn't even playing. I felt the frequency and I knew, and I just went, wow, this is big. This is huge. And then I had my session, and some really beautiful, amazing things happened for me around healing and managing pain. And I just knew that this was so powerful. And I've done a lot of healings.
Yeah.
And every healing has, its benefits and its place, and it's so beautiful. But this was just a beautiful combination of everything. And so a week later, I sort of commissioned the first one to come to Australia in Melbourne.
Yeah, I totally agree with that experience being a very holistic approach, because let's explain, I want to talk about the harmonic egg. It's a sacred geometry, light, color, and sound technology healing chamber, which surrounds you with a custom tailored immersive wellness egg experience. By containing and amplifying the sound resonance within the chamber, you receive a 3D sound session that is precisely controlled, consistent, and repeatable. The auditory relaxation holds you to a place of deep calm and rest, allowing the listener's highest intention to flow through them, creating beautiful shifts in consciousness. And that was my experience as well. It elevates your vibration, doesn't it?
It does. So initially when I sort of went to the egg, I thought, oh, yeah, light and sound, I've experienced that before. I know how powerful it is. But it wasn't until I sat in the sacred geometry chamber. So it's made up with 12 sides, and it's almost like and it's also lined with wood. Okay. So it's like the frequency is coming at you because you're in the middle, and it raises the frequency inside the egg. So you can actually tangibly tell the difference outside the egg to inside. You feel that frequency shift, and it's a very high vibrational shift. And so that means all of your fields, so your emotional, your mental, your spiritual, and your physical body are just so much more open to receiving the frequencies of the music and the lights. So that's why it's so powerful. And it's hard to describe to people. It's a lot easier to show them. And they sit in the egg and they feel that that physical difference in their body, and they feel the lightness and the high vibration and the all of their stress and tension literally melting off them very quickly. And it's a
Yes.
slow build as well. So over those 40, 50 minutes you're in there, you just build up and then you float out usually.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. I remember. Because I've had many healing sessions myself, and being a healer and a kinesiologist every day, when you say speaking to spirit, I'd love to touch on that as well, is what that means to you. Because what that means to me is every morning I like to have a ritual where I am connecting to my higher self and elevating my vibration so that I can access more elevated emotions of love, joy, compassion, resilience, letting go of fear, anger, worry, guilt, grief. And so when I'm in this more elevated state, I'm more open to connecting to something higher, something that helps me to download information that I need to share with my clients as I'm working on them as a kinesiologist. So being in the chamber, just like if I was working with a client, a new client, the first thing I need to do is I need to regulate their nervous system. And then from there, the journey is from that more relaxed state, which is what bending like bamboo means as well, is with the power of flexibility. And you can only become flexible when you're more relaxed.
Yeah.
You can be more open for healing. And that's a journey about the heart opening again, often from shutting down in
Yeah.
protection. And I find the harmonic egg is like that on steroids. Like
It's exactly
when
what it is.
yeah, because you said to me, this is going to be like 10 healing sessions in one. And I was like, oh yeah, let's see. Cool,
Yeah.
cool. And you warned me that I may experience some headaches afterwards, and I might feel really tired, and just to look after myself, allow the integration. And I was like, oh yeah, no, well, I never ever get headaches. We'll see, we'll see. And I get lots of healing sessions all the time.
Yeah.
You were right. I had a headache. As soon as I got home that afternoon, I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, there it is. And
Yeah.
it felt like I needed a lot of water, as you said, to help the
Mm.
integration with electrolytes. And that one you gave me afterwards really helped. So I continued that for the rest of the day. And then I fell asleep on the couch after dinner. You know, when you have those moments where you're so asleep, you don't mind if you just stay there on the couch because you've just
Yeah.
zonked.
Yeah.
And I had a really deep sleep, and I was feeling quite queasy as well.
Mm.
But then when I woke up the next day, I'd already come back from a holiday of for 8 days, and I was feeling quite relaxed, but back in work mode that day when I saw you, which was my first week back, and I had some meetings, I had some things to do, but then I had the egg session. And when I woke up the next day, it felt like I had been on holiday in Greece for a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just felt such a deep relaxation that I could feel on a cellular level in my nervous system, like all of my fascia and brain and spine, like all the tissues and ligaments and every physical and biochemical aspect of my body had all the stress had been massaged and oozed out, and how
Mm.
that would feel if there was just such a reduction in stress, and
Yeah.
therefore a bliss state came over me.
Yeah. No, what you described is common for a lot of people. And while everybody's experience and integration is different, um, I think I've only had one person who I've spoken to afterwards who said, oh no, I didn't have any integration like symptoms or things happen, but they still felt amazing. But most people do get, some people get headaches. Most people get tired. A lot of people do feel like different emotions, like what we perceive as negative emotions being released.
Yeah.
And they're literally being released, and you're just feeling them as they're exiting your fields in the next
Yeah.
couple of days. But it is a full detox, because what the egg does is it provides you with all of the missing frequencies that we've lost through fear and trauma and stress and all of those things that life throws at us.
Yeah.
But in order to receive those frequencies, we've got to let go of the gunk. Okay, we've got to
Yeah.
let go of the fear and the stress and the toxins and all of that stuff that weighs us down, that's so heavy.
Yeah.
And these things, because of our lifestyles, we think that it's normal. We're living in this life of, highly anxious, you know, energy and
Mm.
stress and
Rush, clutter,
rush.
go, go,
Yep.
go,
And we're
achievement.
not in rest and digest, and we don't even know what rest and digest means anymore or what it
Yeah,
feels like.
exactly.
So I often get people coming in going, oh yeah, I'm not that stressed. I ask them what their stress level is when we have a chat. And then afterwards they go, oh my God, I just feel open and blissful.
Yeah,
And like, I don't want to do anything.
yeah,
And it's because all of their stress has left their body.
yeah,
And they just didn't even know they could feel that way.
yeah,
And it's so beautiful. And their faces change. They actually look different when they
yeah,
come out of the egg. Like they're
yeah,
a different person.
yeah.
And, you know, the more stressed they are, the more different they look, obviously.
Mm.
I had a lady in the egg just this week, and she's like, I'm in a pretty good place, you know, because she had just come back from holidays and stuff. And so we did a session, and then she came out and she goes, oh my God, I'm in bliss now. Like she was
Yeah.
already relaxed, but then she came out and she was in just total bliss. And she didn't know that she could feel like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Because there's something about it. It really takes you to that place. And when we are more relaxed and our hearts open, let's talk about those benefits because I talk about this religiously,
Yeah.
constantly, but let's relate it to the egg because just like, with kinesiology, I'm moving the energy and identifying what the blocks are to healing, but also optimal performance and for us to achieve our goals. And when we're more open-hearted, we're kinder, we're more compassionate, we can see from other people's perspectives, we can perform when we are on top of our game and all good things are happening and it's a fast-paced environment. So there are just so many benefits of changing the energy. You know what I wish? I wish I knew about the egg 3, 4 years ago when I wasn't in such a good place, when my mother and my dog passed away very close
Yeah.
together and my frequency obviously dropped because I was in grief. And a wonderful way to help elevate people's vibration when they are going through a significant, difficult
Mm.
time.
Yeah.
I think that the egg would just really help to process those emotions and just to, elevate. Energy is everything.
Yes, it is.
It
Yeah.
affects your healing. It affects what we attract,
Mm-hmm.
how we can overcome our challenges.
Yeah.
Energy is everything.
Yeah. So what I find the egg does is like we'll be bouncing along energetically, like here, and then the egg will give you this big shift of energy, okay, releasing all the low vibrational stuff, and you come up here and then you bounce around and you find a new normal, but it's always higher than before.
Yeah.
And it does take a couple of weeks to do that. And, as spiritual beings, we're supposed to be living through our heart space, but most of us don't. Even I will live through my ego. Okay. And it's a practice to come back into heart, back into heart, back into heart. But when we're living life from our heart space,
Mm.
which is also what State of Grace Collective is all about, bringing people back into that heart space, reminding them that the flow, that the beautiful divine connection, that, you're going to find your purpose,
Yeah.
and, living your dream and being on the path through your heart space, because the
Yeah.
ego's job is designed to take the past and project it into the future, right?
Yeah.
So this happened in the past and it hurt, and it might happen in the future.
Yeah.
And the ego serves a purpose. It's there to protect us, but it's not supposed to run the show.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to dictate our every decision and reaction.
No.
So, the egg helps us to come out of our ego mind and really get into our heart space and connect into our third eye, our pineal gland, having those work together. And then you become very powerful from within. You
Yes.
have, the more you practice this, you have access to that inner guidance. You know that you're actually never alone, that
Yeah.
I call them my spiritual team. There's a lot of them. And they
Yes.
come in at different times and I need different things,
Yeah.
but they've always got my back. They're always giving me guidance. They're never telling me what to do because I have free will, but they're always just giving me that gentle guidance and gentle nudges and just say, this is the best path. And sometimes I choose the ego path and then I get slapped in the face and I go, okay, and I'll go back to the spiritual path.
And
But
they show you signs as well
yes,
if you ask.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And you can ask for signs, and the more you talk to them and the more you connect
Yeah.
with them and ask for their guidance, the
Yeah.
stronger those signs are. Like it's a
Yeah.
practice.
Yeah. And you can
And
do
that's
that
how I
with
run my business.
journaling meditation. But when I was in the egg, it reminded me also of the closest feeling I've ever experienced to a time when I was in the middle of an acupuncture session and I went into such deep rest that I was able to connect to my higher self on a deeper level than ever before. And
Mm.
whilst always as a child and now as an adult, as a kinesiologist, I don't hear voices, but I have these downloads of premonitions or something that just information that flows through me that helps to guide me and helps to guide my clients. And so I tapped into that in the egg on a high level. And so just with some of the ailments I was experiencing in my body, I was able to just touch my body and go, okay, what do I need to know about this? What do I need
Yeah.
to know about this? And simply when we're just relaxed in meditation and when we're journaling, rituals like that, and obviously a huge top up with our monthly egg sessions that I think we should all have.
Yep.
And, this is a way that we can practice connecting to our higher selves because we want a combination of intellect and intuition as we're
Mhm.
navigating life.
Yeah. Well, the egg provides that space that raises because it's a higher frequency and a higher vibration. So it lessens the gap between, yourself on this three-dimensional plane and your spirit
Yeah.
being on the fifth-dimensional plane. So the gap is smaller. So it's much easier in the egg to receive that guidance,
Yeah.
those intuitive hits.
Yeah.
Whether however you receive guidance, some people it's visual, some people actually hear things, some people it's telepathic, some people
Yeah.
feel things. So however that works for a person in the egg, all of that is heightened. So you can start to get those messages a lot clearer and quicker. And
Yes.
once you actually are able to have that, you kind of go, oh, I can actually do this. It opens up another doorway and you have that belief and knowing that you can
Yes.
do it.
Yes.
So it's really beautiful. And, the thing about the egg is as well is that there's at the moment, there's 45 different tracks we can use
Yeah.
and 16 different colors. So, and Gal Lin, the inventor, is, adding to the tracks all the time, and each track focuses on different things. So we really tailor the energy and the lights for a person's specific needs at that particular time.
Yeah.
And I always have a chat with them and check in. What do you need? What do you want to work on? What's your intention for today before we go into the egg? And every egg session is different. Like when you come back, you'll have another session and it'll be totally different again because
Yeah.
energy is different, your needs are different, and the music
Yeah.
and lights will probably be different. And so many people reports like everything can happen in the egg.
Yeah.
We've had people like you who really tap into their higher self and get those beautiful guiding messages. I've had people say to me, I felt my mother here, my father here who had passed, giving me guidance and messages and beautiful words of wisdom and love. Some people feel things, they just feel tapping on their body. I call them the spiritual doctors, and they're definitely present in the egg coming when you have a physical illness. People feel the energy, especially going into old injuries. So say if they've got like a knee injury or a shoulder injury, they'll feel the energy go into that spot in their body.
Yeah.
They'll feel things being released and taken out. They'll feel tapping on their forehead. Some people come out of the egg and they say, does the chair vibrate? And I go, no, the chair doesn't vibrate. But they feel their energy fields just shifting with with the egg as to what they need, because vibration, as you probably know, is a form of release. It's a type of purge. So when we shake and when we vibrate, it's releasing.
Yeah.
And that's really prevalent in the drumming tracks that we have. So we have a lot of tracks for releasing heavy metals, releasing things from our liver,
Yeah.
releasing trauma through shamanic drumming. So that's just some of the tracks we have.
Yeah. Cool.
And depending on the sort of track, depends on the sort of energy and how it works, but it always meets you where you're at and is exactly what you need. So as people go into the egg, especially the first time, I say to them, look, I don't know what you're going to experience in here. You might just go to sleep. You might feel this, that, the other, but whatever you do experience will be perfect for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I truly trust that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible. I want to know more about you and your journey. So in 2014, you appear to be living a perfect life on the surface. I read a bit about you, and you found yourself struggling with an overwhelming sense of emptiness and disconnection. As an empath, you experienced intense challenges managing the energies around you, leading to sleep paralysis, insomnia, and declining mental health. Tell me about this time and how that transformed for you.
So there were a few things happening at one time, which is usually the way when you're heading towards a rock bottom. So like I was in the perfect job. I just received a promotion and everything on the surface was great. But, you know, because I am very empathic, and no one teaches you how to manage energy. Like you don't pop out the womb with a manual. Oh, you're empathic and you need to do this, this, and this. So I think the combination of the energies of the planet, you know, she's raising her vibration, which means my empathic abilities were opening up as well. I was working in a masculine sort of environment in a corporate world, so dealing with all of that.
Yeah.
And then, so I'd had sleep paralysis as a teen and in my early 20s, and I didn't really know what it was.
Yeah, that's
So
scary.
looking back on it now, I think I used to astral travel, but I didn't know what that was at that time. And the way I would describe sleep paralysis to people is it's like you've got one foot in this three-dimensional realm and one foot in the fourth or fifth dimensional realm. So you can kind of sense energies that you wouldn't normally, you know, in your waking life. And so that started happening more regularly. So it was usually, you know, it started off as once a month, or then once a week, and then once a night, and then a couple of times a night. And I felt very out of control. And so when you're not in control of something, it's very frightening. But also, because it was happening at night, I was scared to go to sleep. So then I won't sleep much. And then that in turn affects your mental health.
Yeah.
So all of these things, plus I had a bulging disc injury and the pain of that. So that wasn't really going away. All of these things now, I look back, and it was a culmination to bring me to a point where I would either destroy myself or I would choose a different path. So thank goodness my sister saw the downward spiral that I was on.
Thanks for
And
listening to this
she booked me
episode
in
of the
for a
Like
Reiki session for my birthday.
I would love you to rate it and share it with your community or
I wasn't
anyone
really
that you
into any of
think
this stuff at
might
that
need to
time.
hear this episode.
So
If
she
you
said
would
to me,
like
I'll
to
book you
discover
for a
the
Reiki
power of
session. And I'm like,
flexibility
what the
and
F
how
is Reiki?
kinesiology and the Bend Like Bamboo program
She goes,
can help you,
you're an
please
idiot,
book
just
in for
go.
a free
So I
discovery
went
call on
and I
my
met this
website,
lady, Julie, who was a
benlikebamboo.com
Reiki
under bookings,
master.
or email Amanda
But she's
at
also got other beautiful psychic
benlikebamboo.com.
abilities. And
You
she
can
saw
see
my
me
energy
one-on-one
coming.
in
She
Melbourne
saw,
or on Zoom
you know,
remotely.
the causes of the sleep
My
paralysis,
book,
what was
Bend
happening
Like
for me
Bamboo, is
energetically.
now available
So
on
I
my
had the
website
energy
and
healing, but
bookstores
also
online.
she gave me
And I'm
tools to
also
use
taking
to
new
protect my
clients into the
energy. And there were simple
2024
tools like
Bend
having
Like
a salt
Bamboo
bath
6-month program
and, you know,
of
calling
monthly
in Archangel
sessions taking you
Michael
through
and cutting
all
off
the
cords with
lessons,
people all the time
tools,
and
and
having these
strategies that
daily
I detail
rituals
in the
to
book,
protect my
helping
energy.
you to de-stress
You know
and
what? It started
reset
working.
and to
It wasn't a
reimagine what
silver
can be
bullet,
possible
but it
in your
started to
mind,
work, and the
body,
sleep
and life.
paralysis
Thank
was
you so much for
lessening.
supporting the
I felt my
podcast,
power
and I will see you at the
increasing.
next
I felt
session.
being more in control. And within a couple of months, I looked back at that person before the Reiki, who realistically, that person, you know, was at their wit's end and was looking for a way out. And I just go, I don't know who that was. I can't even recognize that person beforehand.
Yeah.
So just having that inner power, you know, strengthening my energy, my aura, knowing how to go within, having the tools, you know, to start to manage that energy.
Yeah.
It was so important for me.
Yeah.
And so that led me down a path of, you know, Reiki. I learned a few different healing modalities. And then, you know, eventually I started a little side business selling crystals and jewelry at markets, and slowly backed away from my corporate job. And then suddenly here I am now. I've got 3 stores and a Harmonic Egg and beautiful staff. And yeah, it's all just happened.
Yeah, and your stores are stunning. So beautiful. Your stock is incredible. It's just an experience going to the store. What's the difference between the lift egg session at the Hawksburn store versus the egg, Harmonic Egg, which is a larger version of that at
Yeah.
Uni Ponds?
So the harmonic egg is, it's got the 2 different light settings, so we can have 2 different colors for the person. It's got a 0 gravity chair that you sit on that you would have sat on. So then we put the footrest out and we tip it back until you're comfortable.
Yeah.
So the harmonic egg feels like you're floating in there.
Yeah.
And the harmonic egg also has more of the sacred geometry. It's designed with more sacred geometry.
Yeah.
And the harmonic egg has got about 45 at the moment different tracks that we can use.
Yeah.
And the sessions in the egg run for 50 minutes. So there's 40 minutes with the music and then 10 minutes with silence to really start that integration period.
Yeah.
The lift is a smaller version of that. So it's actually designed for the home or like an office situation. The harmonic egg can only be used once a week. So you can't have more than 1 session a week because you really need, it's that strong, it needs that week to really integrate the frequencies.
Yeah.
The lift can be used every day because the lift has 1 light. It has less sacred geometry components in there. So it is made with the cylinder and the hexagon on the floor. And it's got, so the 1 light on the bottom, and you just sit in a normal chair or on a floor cushion. So you can either do like a meditation pose or sitting on a chair in the lift. You don't lie back in the lift. And the lift has got 16 music tracks that to choose from. So it's like it's a smaller version. So it's sort of designed for people who love the egg, but really want to have that at home or want to buy it for their business so that all their staff and their friends and family can use it on a daily basis.
Yeah, wonderful. So may I ask you, what does resilience mean to you, Asha?
Ooh, resilience for me has changed over the years, sort of, you know, prior to being on this spiritual journey. I would have said resilience is just hardening up, okay? Just, you know, moving through it, taking it on the chin and still moving forward.
Yeah.
But now after doing this work, oh my God, resilience is so much more. Resilience is being able to access my consciousness, to see the wisdom and the learnings of all of my experiences. So instead of, you know, reacting to a situation from my emotions and from my ego, I'm able to rise above that and go, okay, why is this happening to me? What is my lesson here? What is this situation going to teach me? Okay.
Beautiful.
And this is, you know, this is hard. I say it like it's easy. This is not. This is a practice because we've been reacting to situations and life is happening, you know, to us for such a long time. But I find when you really embrace the lessons, you're able to see that life is happening with me and actually for me, and I'm co-creating life through my responses to everything around me because I choose to see the wisdom of the situations.
That's beautiful. I absolutely agree. And when I'm elevated in that higher vibration, there's a wonderful lady, Carolyn Meese, who has a gorgeous analogy of the penthouse. And when she's on the penthouse of the building, metaphorically, you know, that's where you can see all the streets, you can connect all the dots and things happen for you, not to you there. And that's where we can connect to our higher self. And I place myself there at the end of my meditation.
Beautiful. Carolyn Miss is just amazing. Her wisdom, her guidance. Yeah. She's a beautiful, beautiful teacher.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. She's very healing. And when I was going through some grief in my life, I experienced some eczema, which I'd never had before, right across my neck. And I tried various different healing modalities and nothing was shifting. So I had booked to see Carolyn Meese live and went along, and she explained that analogy of, you know, when we're on the ground floor of the building, that's where we sit when we're stressed, a very limited perspective, accessing lower frequency emotions of guilt, fear, anger, worry. And when we can elevate to the penthouse, it's just such a different experience of our perspectives and our ability to elevate our vibration, connecting to high vibration emotions of love, joy, compassion, resilience. And so the next morning I woke up and it had gone.
Yeah. And I love that story because it just goes to show sometimes these things that we perceive as negative happen to us to really prompt us to go and do the healing, like go and read the book or look for a different solution, get outside of our comfort zone. And then as soon as we actually do that, spirit goes, oh, they've heard. And then the thing that's happened just magically disappears. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Spontaneous healings can happen.
Yeah.
I'm so passionate about sharing wonderful stories like yours, Asha. Thank you for everything that you do. You're incredible. Your journey is incredible. I'm sure so many people are going to be inspired by your journey and how listening to your guidance has led you to a wonderful, fulfilling career helping others.
Thank you.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. My absolute. Everyone has to go and check out the stateofgracecollective.com.au. And you've got Facebook and the same Instagram handle, State of Grace Collective. Asha, thank you so much. I can't wait to see you again for my next session.
No worries. Thank you, Amanda. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Bend Like Bamboo podcast. I would love you to rate it and share it with your community or anyone that you think might need to hear this episode. If you would like to discover the power of flexibility and how kinesiology and the Bend Like Bamboo program can help you, please book in for a free discovery call on my website, bendlikebamboo.com under bookings, or email amanda@bendlikebamboo.com. You can see me one-on-one in Melbourne or on Zoom remotely. My book, Bend Like Bamboo, is now available on my website and bookstores online. And I'm also taking new clients into the 2024 Bend Like Bamboo 6-month program of monthly sessions taking you through all the lessons, tools, and strategies that I detail in the book, helping you to de-stress and reset and to reimagine what can be possible in your mind, body, and life. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast, and I will see you at the next session.